I was not aware of all the resources that I had at my disposal. I think I tended to be more of a lone wolf and doing things kind of on my own. And now I just think if I had just known about this person on the district or in the conference that I could have contacted, I could have saved myself a whole lot of trouble.
Hello, this is Pastor Terry Goodman, and I want to welcome you to the Wesleyan Connection. This podcast is primarily for the clergy and laity of the Holston Annual Conference. Join with me now as I take a look around the connection and share some of the things happening in the churches of our annual conference. I hope that you have been listening over the last couple of Monday mornings to the conversations I've been having with the district superintendent in this series that I'm calling Monday Morning with a DS. Today I'm talking with Walter Weikel. Now, Walter and I have sort of known each other, I guess, on and off through the years, but we never really served together that I can remember, and his was a name that's familiar to me through his dad, Jack Weikel. I believe Jack at one time may have actually been my district superintendent, but Walter and I have never really had an opportunity to get together that I can remember and have a conversation, so I enjoyed my conversation with him and learning about the Johnson City District. I hope that as you have been listening to these podcasts, and if you've not, please go back and listen to the ones that are prior to this with Tom Ballard and Adam McKee, because one of the things you're going to learn, one of the things that I learned, is that there is such great diversity in the districts of our annual conference. Each district seems to have its own unique approach to ministry and mission and the way that they do things, and I'm learning a lot about how each of these districts sort of function through these conversations that I'm having with their district superintendents. And so I encourage you, make sure to listen to these other podcasts. My goal is to get all 12 of the district superintendents down on tape and to share it over the weeks that are ahead. I've got, not counting today, there's 9 more to go. And so I invite you to come back for the next 9 weeks and listen. But today, sit in and listen to the conversation that Walter and I had. Here this afternoon with Walter Weikel, the district superintendent from the Johnson City District. And I was just wondering, can you tell me what are some of the ways that your district is working together to help on a district level proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ?
Well, one of the unique opportunities that we have right now is, unfortunately, we did have to close a church this past October, but since that time we have decided that we were going to move our offices to that facility. And since then, there have been 2 congregations that have started worshiping in that facility. There is also a recovery ministry for women. There is still a food pantry and a clothes distribution that the former congregation and 2 other congregations are participating in. Holston Home for Children is going to have a presence there. And so anyway, part of what we've been doing over the last about 2 months is meeting together as a planning team and a prayer and discernment team to try to figure out what is the best use for this facility, because we don't want to overcommit ourselves and then have to pull out of anything. But we're trying to just sort of take a little pause before we make any commitments about what we do next. I think another thing that we've been working on is to think in terms of discipleship groups among our clergy and maybe working toward having missional hubs. And so beginning in January, we had our clergy meeting together in discipleship teams. And then I guess the third big project that's going on right now is the transition from Buffalo Mountain Camp to Bays Mountain Camp. So we are really excited about that, and I couldn't be more tickled with the leadership of Jeff Wadley on the camp.
Will that be opening this summer?
It will be opening this summer. It's going to be on a somewhat more limited scale than what was happening at Buffalo Mountain. They have already started construction and renovation on the lodge and the dining hall that were already there, and I also believe they are going to be building the pool this year. I think it's going to be tight, but they're going to do the best they can, so we're excited about that.
So it sounds like that as a district you all have some major projects, ideas to keep you going and thinking as the churches of the district working together. How about some individual ministries? Or are there? And I know that's not a fair question to ask because you're going to say, but I'm going to leave somebody out. And so we apologize ahead of time in case somebody gets left out. But what about some churches that are really making a good impact in their communities?
Well, as I think about some of those locations, one of the things that I'd never really heard of before I became a district superintendent was the idea of a parish model. And I think the most successful model that we have of that in the Johnson City District is the Carter County Parish. And I really do feel like by working together, all of those churches have been strengthened. So that's one of the things I'm excited about. I also hear about other congregations that are thinking about adding different types of services, and I don't want to put any of those churches on the spot, but I think there are several churches that are thinking along those lines. I know another emerging ministry might be at Muncie, where they have really spent a lot of time and effort in trying to figure out if they might have a new way to do young adult ministry. I'm really excited by our youth workers in the district, and they have really worked hard to try to have some things that would bring some of our district churches together. And there's an event called, well, it used to be called, well, I guess it still is called Pharmapalooza. And then we have just 2 or 3 other things that our district youth are involved in. And, there's a lot of those type of things that are going on throughout the district. Those are the ones that I think of off the top of my head.
And this is sort of off the top of the head because I just grabbed him on the sidewalk and said, come and do an interview with me.
Yeah.
And so this is sort of spur of the moment kind of stuff. Well, let me ask you this question. As a district superintendent, you are an elder in the church, and you have been set aside for this specific role that you are playing. Back before you became a district superintendent, what are the things that now you are a district superintendent that surprised you, that you just never really thought of when you were the pastor of a local church? What sort of caught you off guard when you came into this role?
I guess the assumption that everybody wanted to do worship the way that I do it, or wanted to program the way that I do it, and just a growing awareness that different locations have a different personality and they have different goals and aspirations. I think that I was not aware of all the resources that I had at my disposal. I think I tended to be more of a lone wolf and doing things kind of on my own. And now I just think if I had just known about this person on the district or in the conference that I could have contacted, I could have saved myself a whole lot of trouble. And I guess the other thing that I would say is I feel like I missed out on all the opportunities that maybe I had that were available to me of just being interconnected better with the clergy in whatever district that I was serving. I feel like I'm much more of a team-minded person now than I was before.
Okay. 2 questions left. This one is, what is the passion that drives you to be in ministry?
seeing such spirit-filled and gifted people in all the churches across the Johnson City District and across the Holston Conference, just never dreaming of some of the ministries that, when some of these pastors come and tell me things that they want to do, in my own mind I'm thinking, well, how will they ever pull that off? And then you see them do it, and it just makes you feel like that there's got to be a bridge somewhere there between the people and what they're able to do, and it's got to be the Holy Spirit. So that is extremely encouraging. And just seeing how dedicated so many of our clergy and laity are. I guess I did not realize. I always knew that people in my local church were dedicated, but you just don't really think that there are people, just such good and faithful people that are sprinkled across the whole district.
Final question, and this is one that I'm going back deep into theology for. I'm going to really put you on the spot and test your ability to answer this question appropriately.
Okay.
What is your favorite dessert?
I am not a huge dessert person. I would have to say probably cheesecake would be my favorite thing, but I was not expecting that.
That's what I like to end and catch you off guard with.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you sharing these moments with us, and I'm going to be praying for your district and your churches and your ministry, and I just thank you for the continued ministry you provide our annual conference.
Well, thank you.
This is Pastor Goodman. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Wesleyan Connection. Be sure to check back often for more podcasts.